Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala rasulihil kareem. Amma ba'd. Alhamdulillah, today we'll be continuing on with the 8th juz. Inshallah, as always, I would like to remind everyone that our tartib will be as follows. We will do a recitation of the Quran in the Arabic and then followed by an English translation. And along with it, there will be some explanation given with tafsir. In any case, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them, and inshallah they'll be answered at the end. Or if you would like to email me for whatever the case may be, please feel free to do so. Jazakallah khair. And without any further delay, let us begin. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولو أننا نزلنا إليهم الملائكة وكلمهم الموتى وحشرنا عليهم كل شيء قبلا ما كانوا ليؤمنوا إلا أن يشاء الله ولكن أكثرهم يجهلون. If we had sent down to them the angels and the dead had spoken to them, and even if we had gathered before them face to face, still they were not to believe unless Allah would have so willed, but most of them adopt the way of ignorance. وكذلك جعلنا لكل نبي عدوا شياطين الإنس والجن يوحي بعضهم إلى بعض زخرف القول غرورا ولو شاء ربك ما فعلوه فذرهم وما يفترون. So it is that for every prophet we have set up enemies, the devils of mankind and jinn who seduce one another with alluring rhetoric in order to deceive. Had Allah willed, they would not have done it. So leave them alone with what they forge. ولتصغى إليه أفئدة الذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة وليرضوه وليقترفوا ما هم مقترفون. And they seduce one another in order that the hearts of those who do not believe in the hereafter may incline to it, and that they may be well pleased with it, and so that they commit that those seducers are used to commit. أفغير الله أبتغي حكما وهو الذي أنزل إليكم الكتاب مفصلا والذين آتيناهم الكتاب يعلمون أنه منزل من ربك بالحق فلا تكونن من الممترين. So should I seek someone other than Allah as a judge? Well, it is He who has sent down to you the book in details. So those we have given the book know that it is revealed from your Rabb with the truth. So never be one of those who are in suspicion. وَتَمَّتْ كَلِمَةُ رَبِّكَ صِدْقًا وَعَدْلًا لَا مُبَدِّلَ لِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. The word of your Rabb is perfect in truth and justice. None is there to change His words, and He is all-hearing, all-knowing. وَإِن تُطِعْ أَكْثَرَ مَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ يُضِلُّوكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ إِن يَتَّبِعُونَ إِلَّا الظَّنَّ وَإِنْهُمْ إِلَّا يَخْرُصُونَ. If you obey the majority of those on earth, they will make you lose the way of Allah. They follow nothing but whims, and they do nothing but make conjectures. إِنَّ رَبَّكَ هُوَ أَعْلَمُ مَنْ يَضِلُّ عَنْ سَبِيلِهِ وَهُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِالْمُهْتَدِينَ. Surely your Rabb is best aware of those who go astray from His way, and He is best aware of those who are on the right path. فَكُلُوا مِمَّا ذُكِرَ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ إِن كُنتُم بِآيَاتِهِ مُؤْمِنِينَ. So eat the flesh of that animal upon which the name of Allah has been invoked when slaughtering, if you do believe in His verses. So the pagans of Makkah, they raised an objection that the Muslims eat an animal slaughtered by themselves, and while they do not eat the one killed by Allah, meaning the animals that die of natural causes. So the verses from this ayah to the next, up until ayah 121, they were revealed for this story or for this context. So the answer that was given by Allah, there are two. So first, the decision whether or not a particular thing is lawful lies only with Allah. So only Allah declares something as lawful, and any objection against it, there's no point in making it. So because no one can challenge His infinite wisdom. So as such, we as believers must submit it, even though we may not understand the underlying wisdom behind something completely. So this is the meaning behind the words, if you do believe in his verses. Secondly, if an animal is slaughtered in the proper way that was ordained by Allah, all of its blood flows out, making the rest of its body pure and clean, and Allah's name invoked on it makes it blessed by Allah. And this point is made in the next verse. وَمَا لَكُمْ أَلَّا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا ذُكِرَ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ وَقَدْ فَصَّلَ لَكُمْ مَا حَرَّمَ عَلَيْكُمْ إِلَّا مَا اضْطُرِرْتُمْ إِلَيْهِ وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا لَيُضِلُّونَ بِأَهْوَائِهِمْ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ إِنَّ رَبَّكَ هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِالْمُعْتَدِينَ. What should cause you to avoid eating of that upon which the name of Allah has been invoked, while He has spelled out to you all that He has made unlawful for you, except that to which you are compelled by extreme necessity? Surely there are many who misguide people on the basis of their desires without having knowledge. Surely your Rabb is the best knower of those who cross the limits. So this exception, it relates to all prohibited things. وَذَرُوا ظَاهِرَ الْإِثْمِ وَبَاطِنَ إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَكْسِبُونَ الْإِثْمَ سَيُجْزَوْنَ بِمَا كَانُوا يَقْتَرِفُونَ. Leave outward sin and inward sin. Surely those who commit sin shall be punished for what they used to commit. So outward sin means a sin that is committed by one's outward that outside of their body, so physical, or something that is done through their outward organs, so like drinking liquor, fornication, or telling lies. These are all outward sins, while inward sin means something that is committed by a person's heart, emotions like jealousy or having arrogance or kibr. ولا تأكلوا مما لم يذكر اسم الله عليه وإنه لفسق وإن الشياطين ليوحون إلى أوليائهم ليجادلوكم وإن أطعتموهم إنكم لمشركون. Do not eat that meat over which the name of Allah has not been pronounced. This is surely a sin. The shaitans inspire their friends to dispute with you. If you were to obey them, you would be mushrikeen. So mushrik is a person who believes in more than one God as partners of Allah, and they would ascribe partners with Him. So this ayah warns that obedience to any creature in holding something lawful or unlawful in Sharia against Allah's clear command is the same thing as shirk. أو من كان ميتا فأحييناه وجعلنا له نورا يمشي به في الناس كمن مثله في الظلمات ليس بخارج منها كذلك زين للكافرين ما كانوا يعملون. Is it conceivable that the one who was dead and to whom we gave life and set for him a light with which he walks among men is held to be like the one whose condition is such that he is in total darkness, never coming out of it? This is how their deeds appear beautified to the disbelievers. So this means that although the disbelievers are in total darkness, they do not appreciate this fact and continue to take their deeds as beautiful. وكذلك جعلنا في كل قرية أكابر مجرميها ليمكروا فيها وما يمكرون إلا بأنفسهم وما يشعرون. In a similar way, in every town we caused its chief sinners to commit mischief in it, and they do not commit mischief but against themselves, while they do not realize it. وَإِذَا جَاءَتْهُمْ آيَةٌ قَالُوا لَن نُؤْمِنَ حَتَّى نُؤْتَى مِثْلَ مَا أُوتِيَ رُسُلُ اللَّهِ اللَّهُ أَعْلَمُ حَيْثُ يَجْعَلُ رِسَالَتَهُ سَيُصِيبُ الَّذِينَ أَجْرَمُوا صِغَارٌ عِندَ اللَّهِ وَعَذَابٌ شَدِيدٌ بِمَا كَانُوا يَمْكُرُونَ. When a sign comes to them, they say, we shall never come to believe unless we are given the like of what was given to the messengers of Allah. Allah knows best where to place His message. Those who committed sin shall soon suffer from disgrace before Allah and face severe punishment for the mischief they have been making. So they meant that Allah should send down His revelation directly to them without mediation of the Prophet. And unless this is done, they will not embrace faith. So the answer that's given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that Allah alone is the one who decides who the suitable person to receive His message directly is. And obviously, it is not possible to appoint as a messenger just about any single person. So it would defeat the very purpose for which the prophets alayhimussalam are sent, that is to test whether or not people believe and obey them by appreciating the proofs brought by them. So again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He continues to make or provide answers to questions that are relevant even today. Many disbelievers or many Christians, Jews, non-Muslims ask very similar questions that why doesn't Allah do this, or why didn't Allah do this? And subhanallah, all of these answers are already in the Quran. فَمَنْ يُرِدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ وَمَنْ يُرِدْ أَنْ يُضِلَّهُ يَجْعَلْ صَدْرَهُ ضَيِّقًا حَرَجًا كَأَنَّمَا يَصَّعَّدُ فِي السَّمَاءِ كَذَلِكَ يَجْعَلُ اللَّهُ الرِّجْسَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. So whomsoever Allah wills to guide, He makes his heart wide open for Islam, and whomsoever He wills to let go astray, He makes his heart straight and constricted, and he feels embracing Islam as difficult, as if he were climbing to the sky. So in this way, Allah lays abomination on those who do not believe. وَهَذَا صِرَاطُ رَبِّكَ مُسْتَقِيمًا قَدْ فَصَّلْنَا الْآيَاتِ لِقَوْمٍ يَذَّكَّرُونَ. This is a path of your Rabb, a straight path. We have made the verses elaborate for people who accept the advice. لَهُمْ دَارُ السَّلَامِ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ وَهُوَ وَلِيُّهُمْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. For them there is the abode of peace with their Rabb, and He is their garden by virtue of what they used to do. ويوم يحشرهم جميعا يا معشر الجن قد استكثرتم من الإنس وقال أولياؤهم من الإنس ربنا استمتع بعضنا ببعض وبلغنا أجلنا الذي أجلت لنا قال النار مثواكم خالدين فيها إلا ما شاء الله إن ربك حكيم عليم. The day He will assemble all of them together, Allah will say to jinn, O species of jinns, you have done too much against mankind. Their friends from the human beings will say, O Rabb, some of us have benefited from others, and we have reached our term that you had appointed for us. He will say, the fire is your abode, wherein you will remain forever, unless Allah wills otherwise. Surely your Rabb is all-wise, all-knowing. So this part of the ayah refers to the devils that are among the jinns who misled the human beings, because not all jinns are inherently bad or inherently evil. Some jinns are very good. They're even those jinns are considered Sahaba, as they were companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or at least that they sat in the gatherings at the time. As part of the our Rabb, some of us have benefited from others. This means that they have derived unfair worldly benefits from each other. This could mean benefits from where a person, he makes a contract with a jinn, or rather black magic, or similar contracts that are made. I don't want to indulge too much into that. وَكَذَلِكَ نُوَلِّي بَعْضَ الظَّالِمِينَ بَعْضَ بِمَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. Thus we will make some wrongdoers companions of others in the hereafter, because of what they used to commit. يا معشر الجن والإنس ألم يأتكم رسل منكم يقصون عليكم آياتي وينذرونكم لقاء يومكم هذا قالوا شهدنا على أنفسنا وغرتهم الحياة الدنيا وشهدوا على أنفسهم أنهم كانوا كافرين. O species of jinn and mankind, had the messengers not come to you from among yourselves who used to relate my verses to you and used to warn you of the encounter of this your day? And they will say, we testify against ourselves the worldly life had deceived them, and they will testify against themselves that they were disbelievers. And I should mention that not all encounters with jinn are bad, right? With those jinns that are good, you may have encounters that are beneficial and not bad at all as well. ذلك أن لم يكن ربك مهلك القرى بظلم وأهلها غافلون. That Allah sends messengers is because your Rabb is not to destroy any towns on account of any wrongdoing while their people are unaware. So Allah does not subject His servants to punishment for their wrongdoings unless He warns them through His prophets, so that there may be no occasion to complain that they have been destroyed without receiving any guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلِكُلٍّ دَرَجَاتٌ مِمَّا عَمِلُوا وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِغَافِلٍ عَمَّا يَعْمَلُونَ. For all people there are ranks according to what they did, and your Rabb is not unaware of what they do. وَرَبُّكَ الْغَنِيُّ ذُو الرَّحْمَةِ إِن يَشَاء يُذْهِبْكُمْ وَيَسْتَخْلِفْ مِن بَعْدِكُم مَّا يَشَاءُ كَمَا أَنشَأَكُم من ذرية قوم آخرين. Your Rabb is the all-independent, the Rabb of mercy. If He so wills, He can take you away and cause whomsoever He wills to succeed you, just as He has raised you from the progeny of other people. إنما توعدون لآت وما أنتم بمعجزين. Surely what you are promised is bound to come, and you cannot frustrate it. قل يا قوم اعملوا على مكانتكم إني عامل فسوف تعلمون ما تكون له عاقبة الدار إنه لا يفلح الظالمون. Say, O my people, do at your place whatever you do. I have to do in my own way. So you will know for whom is the ultimate abode. Surely the wrongdoers will not be successful. وَجَعَلُوا لِلَّهِ مِمَّا ذَرَأَ مِنَ الْحَرْثِ وَالْأَنْعَامِ نَصِيبًا فَقَالُوا هَذَا لِلَّهِ بِزَعْمِهِمْ وَهَذَا لِشُرَكَائِنَا فَمَا كَانَ لِشُرَكَائِهِمْ فَلَا يَصِلُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَمَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ فَهُوَ يَصِلُ إِلَى شُرَكَائِهِمْ سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ. They have assigned a portion for Allah from the tillage and the cattle created by Him, and then said, this is for Allah. So they claim, and this is for our associate gods. Then that which is allocated for their associate gods never reaches Allah, while that which is allocated for Allah does reach their associate gods. Evil is what they judge. So the pagans of Arabia, they used to dedicate some of their wealth for Allah, which used to be spent on the poor and the wayfarers and, just general charity. And some portion was allocated for the idols, which was given to the caretakers of the temples. So the custom was wrong in itself because the wealth they possessed was admittedly created by no other than Allah. And therefore, there was no justification for dedicating it to the idols. In any case, the absurdity of the custom was further aggravated by another practice, and the portion allocated to Allah was often used for the service of the idols when they felt a shortage in their own funds, while the portion allocated for the idols was held as it was. And it was never touched by anyone, and so much so that if some part of Allah's portion would have been borrowed for the other idols, it would never be returned. And it is this custom that is referred to in this ayah. وكذلك زين لكثير من المشركين قتل أولادهم شركاؤهم ليردوكم وليلبسوا عليهم دينهم ولو شاء الله ما فعلوا فذرهم وما يفترون. Similarly, their associate gods have made the killing of their children seem fair to many mushriks, idolaters, so that they may ruin them and may confuse their faith for them. Had Allah so willed, they would not have done that. So leave them alone with what they fabricate. So the reference is to the cruel custom of the pagans and the Arabs of the time, that they would kill their newborn daughters by burying them alive. So the term associate gods is used here to refer to their leaders or devils who allowed for them who allowed this evil custom of killing their daughters. So since they believed these devils were entitled to declare something lawful or unlawful, which is in fact the sole prerogative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it was tantamount to believing them as Allah's partners in His divinity. وقالوا هذه أنعام وحرث حجر لا يطعمها إلا من نشاء بزعمهم وأنعام حرمت ظهورها وأنعام لا يذكرون اسم الله عليها افتراء عليه سيجزيهم بما كانوا يفترون. They say these are prohibited cattle and produce. None can eat them except those whom we wish, so they claim. And there are cattle whose backs are prohibited for riding or loading, and there are cattle over which they do not pronounce the name of Allah, all being fabrications against Him. He will soon punish them for what they have been fabricating. وَقَالُوا مَا فِي بُطُونِ هَذِهِ الْأَنْعَامِ خَالِصَةٌ لِذُكُورِنَا وَمُحَرَّمٌ عَلَى أَزْوَاجِنَا وإن يكن ميتة فهم فيه شركاء سيجزيهم وصفهم إنه حكيم عليم. They say whatever is in the wombs of these cattle is purely for our males and forbidden to our wives. If it be born dead, then all of them share in it. Soon he will punish them for what they attribute. Surely Allah is all wise, all knowing. So this ayah describes a various amount of pagan customs invented about the cattle dedicated to the idols. So they classified such cattle in different categories, so each having a particular restriction, uh, as is mentioned in this ayah. So since they held these restrictions as part of their own religion, while no such instruction was given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obviously, all these customs were or have been termed as fabrications against Allah. And fabrications against Allah, meaning that lies that they had made upon Allah, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never put down such laws. قد خسر الذين قتلوا أولادهم سفها بغير علم وحرموا ما رزقهم الله افتراء على الله قد ضلوا وما كانوا مهتدين. Losers are those who killed their children foolishly without knowledge and hold as prohibited what Allah has provided them, falsely ascribing it to Allah. They have gone astray and they are not on the right path. وهو الذي أنشأ جنات معروشات وغير معروشات والنخل وزرع مختلفا أكله والزيتون والرمان متشابه وغير متشابه كلوا من ثمره إذا أثمر وآتوا حقه يوم حصاده ولا تسرفوا إنه لا يحب المسرفين. He is the one who has created gardens, trellised and untrellised, and date palms and crops with a variety of edibles, and the olive and the pomegranate, some similar to one another and some dissimilar. Eat of its fruits when it bears fruit, and pay its due on the day of harvest, and do not be extravagant. Surely Allah does not like the extravagant. وَمِنَ الْأَنْعَامِ حَمُولَةً وَفَرْشًا كُلُوا مِمَّا رَزَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ مُبِينٌ. Among cattle, he has created those fit for loading and those fit for laying on the floor. Eat of what Allah has provided for you and do not follow the footsteps of shaitan. Surely he is an open enemy to you. So this refers to the smaller animals like goats and sheep that are used either as food after being slaughtered or their skin for hide and carpets. So the words laying on the floor includes both way for their utilization. ثمانية أزواج من الضأن اثنين ومن المعز اثنين قل الذكرين حرم أم الأنثيين أما اشتملت عليه أرحام الأنثيين نبئوني بعلم إن كنتم صادقين. After, and Allah has created 8 pairs, 2 of sheep and 2 of goats. Is it the 2 males that he has prohibited for the 2 females, or the 2 females, or whatever the wombs of the 2 females contain? Tell me on the basis of knowledge if you are true. ومن الإبل اثنين ومن البقر اثنين قل أذكرين حرم أم الأنثيين أما اشتملت عليه أرحام الأنثيين أم كنتم شهداء إذ وصاكم الله بهذا فمن أظلم ممن افترى على الله كذبا ليضل الناس بغير علم إن الله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. Allah, he has created 2 of camels and 2 of oxen. Say, is it the 2 males that he has prohibited, or the 2 females, or whatever the wombs of the 2 females contain? Or were you present when Allah has advised you of this? So who is more unjust than the one who fabricates a lie against Allah in order to misguide people without knowledge? Surely Allah gives no guidance to an unjust people. So this ayah condemns in detail the pagan practice of holding certain cattle as prohibited. So they had no principle for prohibition. At times they declared the males unlawful, and at some other times they chose females to be declared as unlawful. So this ayah, it says that all these pairs are created by Allah, and he has neither prohibited males nor females, nor is there any instruction to the effect that whatever is born from the womb of a female, or whether male or female, should be held as lawful or unlawful. قل لا أجد فيما أوحي إلي محرما على ما طاعم يطعمه إلا أن يكون ميتة أو دما مسفوحا أو لحم خنزير فإنه رجس أو فسقا أهل لغير الله به فمن اضطر غير باغ ولا عاد فإن ربك غفور رحيم. Say, I do not find in what has been revealed to me anything out of the cattle under discussion prohibited for anyone who eats it, unless it be carrion or blood that pours forth, or flesh of swine because it is impure, or there be an animal slaughtered sinfully by invoking on it the name of someone other than Allah. However, if anyone is compelled by necessity, neither seeking pleasure nor crossing the limit, then your Rabb is most forgiving, most merciful. So this exception, it relates to all prohibited things, and we've gone over this before in Surah Baqarah. وعلى الذين هادوا حرمنا كل ذي ظفر ومن البقر والغنم حرمنا عليهم شحومهما إلا ما حملت ظهورهما أو الحوايا أو ما اختلط بعظم ذلك جزيناهم ببغيهم وإنا لصادقون. For those who are Jews, we prohibited all that has claws of cows and goats. We prohibited for them their fat, except that which is borne by their backs or the entrails or what is attached to a bone. So we recompense them for their transgression. We are definitely truthful. So the reference of this prohibition was made before. So both of these ayah describe that this prohibition was imposed on the Jews as a punishment for some of their misdeeds, and this should not be confused with the prohibition of camel that was made in Surah Imran, which was made unlawful by Yaqub alayhi salam himself due to his own promise or vow that he made. فَإِن كَذَّبُوكَ فَقَلْ رَبُّكُمْ ذُو رَحْمَةٍ وَاسِعَةٍ وَلَا يُرَدُّ بَأْسُهُ عَنِ الْقَوْمِ الْمُجْرِمِينَ. Then if they give the lie to you, say your Rabb is the Lord of all, embracing mercy, and his punishment cannot be averted from the sinning people. سيقول الذين أشركوا لو شاء الله ما أشركنا ولا آباؤنا ولا حرمنا من شيء كذلك كذب الذين من قبلهم حتى ذاقوا بأسنا قل هل عندكم من علم فتخرجوه لنا إن تتبعون إلا ظن وإن أنتم إلا تخرصون. Those who associate partners with Allah will say, had Allah willed, we would not have associated partners with him, nor our fathers, nor would we have made anything prohibited. In the same way, those who went before them gave the lie to the truth until they tasted our punishment. Say, do you have any sure knowledge that you may produce to us? You follow nothing but whims and do nothing but make conjectures. قل فلله الحجة البالغة فلو شاء لهداكم أجمعين. Say, then Allah's is the conclusive proof. So had he willed, he would have brought all of you on the right path. So we mentioned this many times before. It means that Allah had the power to make all the disbelievers, and he still has this power to make all the non-Muslims believe in the truth by force. But it is the requirement of the test that we are all currently doing. It is the requirement of said test for which man is sent to this world that he should accept the truth on his own volition on the basis of the proofs explained to him. قل هلم شهداءكم الذين يشهدون أن الله حرم هذا فإن شهدوا فلا تشهد معهم ولا تتبع أهواء الذين كذبوا بآياتنا والذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة وهم بربهم يعدلون. Say, bring your witnesses who testify that Allah has prohibited this, and then if they testify, O Prophet, do not be a witness to them, and do not follow the desires of those who have given the lie to our signs, and those who do not believe in the hereafter and who equate others with their Rabb. قل تعالوا أتلوا ما حرم ربكم عليكم ألا تشركوا به شيئا وبالوالدين إحسانا ولا تقتلوا أولادكم من إملاق نحن نرزقكم وإياهم ولا تقربوا الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن ولا تقتلوا النفس التي حرم الله إلا بالحق ذلكم وصاكم به لعلكم تعقلون. Say, O Prophet, to the non-believers, come and I shall recite what your Rabb has prohibited for you. Do not associate anything with him as his partner, and be good to parents, and do not kill your children because of poverty. We will give you provision to you and them as well, and do not go near shameful acts, whether they are open or secret. And do not kill a person whom Allah has given sanctity except rightfully. This he has enjoined upon you so that you may understand. ولا تقربوا مال اليتيم إلا بالتي هي أحسن حتى يبلغ أشده وأوفوا الكيل والميزان بالقسط لا نكلف نفسا إلا وسعها وإذا قلتم فاعدلوا ولو كان ذا قربى وبعهد الله أوفوا ذلكم وصاكم به لعلكم تذكرون. Do not approach the property of the orphan except with the best possible conduct until he reaches maturity. Give full measure and full weight in all fairness. We do not obligate anyone beyond his capacity, and be just when you speak, even though the one against whom you are speaking is a relative, and fulfill the covenant of Allah. This is what he has enjoined upon you so that you may observe the advice. So the primary sense of this is that uh, in regards to buying or selling, its application is much wider, and it covers all the obligations one may have towards other people, which must be discharged in all fairness without any omission. And in the against whom you are speaking, this indicates that all the obligations mentioned in this verse are to be fulfilled according to one's best quality. Any addition or uh, omission beyond one's control is forgiven by Allah. وأن هذا صراطي مستقيما فاتبعوه ولا تتبعوا السبل فتفرق بكم عن سبيله ذلكم وصاكم به لعلكم تتقون. And this is my path that is straightforward, so follow it and do not follow the other ways, lest they should make you deviate from his way. This is what he has enjoined upon you so that you may be God-fearing. ثم آتينا موسى الكتاب تماما على الذي أحسن وتفصيلا لكل شيء وهدى ورحمة لعلهم بلقاء ربهم يؤمنون. Then we gave Musa the book, perfect for the one who does good, and explaining everything in detail, and a guidance and mercy so that they may believe in meeting their Rabb. وهذا كتاب أنزلناه مبارك فاتبعوه واتقوا لعلكم ترحمون. And this Quran is a blessed book we have sent down, so follow it and fear Allah so that you may be favored with mercy. أن تقولوا إنما أنزل الكتاب على طائفتين من قبلنا وإن كنا عن دراستهم لغافلين. Had we not sent this book, you would have an excuse to say the book was sent down only upon two groups before us, the Jews and the Christians, and we were unaware of what they read. أو تقولوا لو أن أنزل علينا الكتاب لكنا أهدى منهم فقد جاءكم بينة من ربكم وهدى ورحمة فمن أظلم ممن كذب بآيات الله وصدف عنها سنجزي الذين يصدفون عن آياتنا سوء العذاب بما كانوا يصدفون. Or you would say, if the book had been sent down to us, we would have been more adhering to the right path than they are. Now there has come to you a clear sign from your Rabb and a guidance and mercy. So who is more unjust than the one who gives the lie to the verses of Allah and turns away from them? We will recompense those who turn away from our verses with an evil punishment. هل ينظرون إلا أن تأتيهم الملائكة أو يأتي ربك أو يأتي بعض آيات ربك يوم يأتي بعض آيات ربك لا ينفع نفسا إيمانها لم تكن آمنت من قبل أو كسبت في إيمانها خيرا قل انتظروا إنا منتظرون. They are waiting for nothing less than that the angel should come to them, or your Rabb, or some signs of your Rabb should come. The day some signs of your Rabb will come, the believing of a person shall be of no use to him who had never believed before, who had not earned some good through his faith. Say, wait, of course we are waiting. إن الذين فرقوا دينهم وكانوا شيعا لست منهم في شيء إنما أمرهم إلى الله ثم ينبئهم بما كانوا يفعلون. Surely those who have made divisions in their religion and turned into factions, you have nothing to do with them. Their case rests with Allah alone. Then He will tell them what they have been doing. من جاء بالحسنة فله عشر أمثالها ومن جاء بالسيئة فلا يجزى إلا مثلها وهم لا يظلمون. Whoever comes with a good deed will receive 10 times as much, and whoever comes with an evil deed will be requited with no more than the like of it, and they shall not be wronged. قل إنني هداني ربي إلى صراط مستقيم دينا قيما ملة إبراهيم حنيفا وما كان من المشركين. Say, as for me, my Rabb has guided me to a straight path, the straight religion, the faith of Ibrahim, who was upright and was not of those who associated partners with Allah. قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين. Say, my prayer, my offering, my life, and my death are for Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. لا شريك له وبذلك أمرت وأنا أول المسلمين. For him there is no partner, and thus I have been commanded, and I am the first one to submit. قل أغير الله أبغي ربا وهو رب كل شيء ولا تكسب كل نفس إلا عليها ولا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى ثم إلى ربكم مرجعكم فينبئكم بما كنتم فيه تختلفون. Say, should I seek a Rabb other than Allah? Well, He is the Lord of everything, and no one does anything but to his own account, and no bearer of burden shall bear the burden of another. Then to your Rabb is your return. Then He will let you know what you were disputing about. وَهُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَكُمْ خَلَائِفَ الْأَرْضِ وَرَفَعَ بَعْضَكُمْ فَوْقَ بَعْضٍ دَرَجَاتٍ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ فِيمَا آتَاكُمْ إِنَّ رَبَّكَ سَرِيعُ الْعِقَابِ وَإِنَّهُ لَغَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. It is He who made you the vicegerents of the earth and raised some of you in ranks over others so that He may test you in what He has given you. Surely your Rabb is swift in punishing, and surely He is most forgiving, most merciful. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alif Lam Mim Sad. كتاب أنزل إليك فلا يكن في صدرك حرج منه لتنذر به وذكرى للمؤمنين. Again, the translation for Alif Lam Mim Sad are the letters by themselves, and the meaning and their translation are only known to Allah and Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This is a book sent down to you, therefore your heart must not be straitened because of it. It is revealed to you so that you may warn through it, and it may be an advice for the believers. So this part of the ayah, or this ayah, is a direction to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that he should convey the message of this book to the people regardless of the reaction that he receives from them. So their hostile and obstinate attitude was hurtful to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and at times caused him to think whether or not he was responsible for their aversion from the truth. And so the Quran frequently consoles Rasulullah by declaring that his responsibility is no more than to just convey the message, and the reaction of the people is neither in his control, nor is he responsible or liable for it in the least. And so Rasulullah should carry on his mission without any fear of rejection, ridicule, or hostility that may be demonstrated by the disbelievers. And subhanAllah, this is a lesson that we all should take, that no matter in which form that we are giving dawah to another person, we are calling to Islam. It is also our job to convey Islam to other people, whether we do it through our own actions, which is the most effective, or we tell them good things about Islam. In any case, this is all a dawah that we have become deputies of after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it is also our responsibility. And there are at times when a lot of people who give da'wah, they might feel that not everyone is listening, or it just seems as if the people are continuing down their downward spiral. Every single day there's more fitna, and there's this and that that's happening around the world, and it's as if all the dawah, all the work that's being done is ineffective. But in reality, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has consoled Rasulullah, we should also take this as an example for ourselves, or as advice for ourselves, that it is our duty to convey the message of Allah and the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it is in the hands of Allah to guide them or to continue to misguide them. اتبعوا ما أنزل إليكم من ربكم ولا تتبعوا من دونه أولياء قليلا ما تذكرون. O humankind, follow what has been sent down to you from your Rabb, and do not follow any masters other than him. Little do you heed to advice. So the masters here in this case, as mentioned in several places in the Quran, it refers to the leaders and the soothsayers that the pagans used to rely in matters of faith. وَكَمْ مِنْ قَرْيَةٍ أَهْلَكْنَاهَا فَجَاءَهَا بَأْسُنَا بَيَاتًا أَوْ هُمْ قَائِلُونَ. How many a town we have destroyed, our punishment came upon them at night, or when they were having a nap at midday. فما كان دعواهم إذ جاءهم بأسنا إلا أن قالوا إنا كنا ظالمين. So when our punishment came upon them, they could say nothing but cry, we were wrongdoers indeed. فلنسألن الذين أرسل إليهم ولنسألن المرسلين. So we shall ask them to whom the messengers were sent, and we shall ask the messengers how they conveyed the message. فَلَنَقُصَّنَّ عَلَيْهِمْ بِعِلْمِ وَمَا كُنَّا غَائِبِينَ. Then, having full knowledge, we shall tell them the whole story, as we were never far from them. وَالْوَزْنُ يَوْمَئِذٍ الْحَقُّ فَمَنْ ثَقُلَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. The weighing of deeds on that day is definite. As for those whose scales are heavy, they will be the successful ones. So the Quran has mentioned at several places that all human deeds will be weighed on Yawm al-Qiyamah, and the decision whether or not a person goes to Jannah or Jahannam will be based upon this, upon the weight of their scales. So in any case, old philosophers, they used to speculate about, such abstract things as deeds. How can they possibly be weighed? So, times today, modern times today, have proved that it is not impossible to weigh or measure such intangibles as temperature, light, voice, etc. So if man is able to invent scales and meters to quantify these abstract things, so we should also remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to weigh the deeds that we have performed. ومن خفت موازينه فأولئك الذين خسروا أنفسهم بما كانوا بآياتنا يظلمون. Well, those whose scales are light, they are the ones who have brought loss to themselves, because they did not do justice to our verses. وَلَقَدْ مَكَّنَّاكُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَجَعَلْنَا لَكُمْ فِيهَا مَعَايِشَ قَلِيلًا مَا تَشْكُرُونَ. We establish you on earth and created in it means of living for you. Little do you appreciate. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَاكُمْ ثُمَّ صَوَّرْنَاكُمْ ثُمَّ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ لَمْ يَكُنْ مِنَ السَّاجِدِينَ. We created you, then gave you a shape. Then we said to the angels, prostrate yourselves before Adam. So they all prostrated themselves except Iblis. He did not join those who fell in prostration. قال ما منعك ألا تسجد إذ أمرتك قال أنا خير من خلقتني من نار وخلقته من طين. Allah said, what has prevented you from prostrating when I have ordered you? He said, I am better than him. You have created me of fire and created him of clay. قال فاهبط منها فما يكون لك أن تتكبر فيها فاخرج إنك من الصاغرين. He said, then you get down from here. It is not for you to show arrogance here. So get out. You are one of the degraded. قال أنظرني إلى يوم يبعثون. He said, then give me respite until the day when all will be resurrected. قال إنك من المنذرين. He, Allah said, you are granted respite. قال فبما أغويتني لأقعدن لهم صراطك المستقيم. He said, now that you have led me astray, I will certainly sit for them in ambush on your straight path. ثم لآتينهم من بين أيديهم ومن خلفهم وعن أيمانهم وعن شمائلهم ولا تجد أكثرهم شاكرين. Then I will come upon them from their front side and from their behind and from their right and from their left. You will not find most of them grateful. قال اخرج منها مذءوما مدحورا لمن تبعك منهم لأملأن جهنم منكم أجمعين. Allah said, get out of here, condemned, rejected. Indeed, whosoever will follow you from among them, I will fill hell with all of you together. ويا آدم اسكن أنت وزوجك الجنة فكلا من حيث شئتما ولا تقربا هذه الشجرة فتكونا من الظالمين. O Adam, dwell you and your wife in paradise and eat from wherever you like, but do not go near this tree, otherwise you shall join the transgressors. فوسوس لهم الشيطان ليبدي لهما ما وري عنهما من سوآتهما وقال ما نهاكما ربكما عن هذه الشجرة إلا أن تكونا ملكين أو تكونا من الخالدين. Then Shaitan whispered to them so that he might expose to them their shame that was hidden from them, and said, your Rabb has not prohibited this tree for you, but to avoid your becoming angels or your becoming eternal. So the story of Adam alayhi salam and Hawa alayhi salam and Iblis has already been mentioned in Surah Baqarah, and so there's no reason to go into too much detail, but in these verses, it mentions how Iblis was able to persuade them to eat from the prohibited tree. And the gist of his argument was that the tree was banned for Adam and Hawa alayhim salam at the initial stage because they were not strong enough to bear its consequences. Otherwise, it was useful for them to eat from it, as to do so would make them immortal like the angels. Now, the substantial time has elapsed and they have acquired the ability to eat from it, and the basic reason for prohibition is no longer applicable to them. Meaning at the time they weren't immortal, and that's why the fruit wasn't allowed for them, but afterwards when they had passed and they entered into Jannah, then it was allowed for them. وَقَاسَمَهُمَا إِنِّي لَكُمَا لَمِنَ النَّاصِحِينَ. He declared to them on oath, I am one of your well-wishers. فدلاهما بغرور فلما ذاقا الشجرة بدت لهما سوآتهما واتفقا يخصفان عليهما من ورق الجنة وناداهما ربهما ألم أنهكما عن تلكما الشجرة وأقل لكما إن الشيطان لكما عدو مبين. Thus he cast both of them down by deception. When they tasted the fruit of the tree, their shame was exposed to them, and they began to patch together some leaves of paradise upon themselves. And the Rabb called them, did I not forbid you from that tree? Did I not tell you that Shaitan is your declared enemy? So the nature of the tree was such that after eating from it, their private parts were somehow uncovered. And as soon as they realized what happened, they felt shy and tried to cover themselves with leaves. And this shows that nudity and lewdness are contrary to the natural instincts of human beings, and it is a requirement of his very nature of a person that they should feel ashamed. And the aspect of the story has been highlighted here as a prologue to the verses that we will cover in a short little while. فَدَلَّاهُمَا بِغُرُورٍ فَلَمَّا ذَاقَ الشَّجَرَةَ بَدَتْ لَهُمَا. No, I already read this. قال ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. They said, our Rabb, we have wronged ourselves, and if you do not forgive us and do not bless us with mercy, we shall indeed be among the losers. So these are the words that refer to in the Quran in Surah Baqarah. Then Adam learned certain words to pray with from his Rabb. So Allah accepted his repentance. قال اهبطوا بعضكم لبعض عدو ولكم في الأرض مستقر ومتاع إلى حين. He said, go down, some of you enemies of some, and for you on the earth there will be a dwelling place and enjoyment for a time. قال فيها تحيون وفيها تموتون ومنها تخرجون. Further he said, there you shall live and there you shall die and from there you shall be raised again. يا بني آدم قد أنزلنا عليكم لباسا يواري سوآتكم وريشا ولباس التقوى ذلك خير ذلك من آيات الله لعلهم يذكرون. O children of Adam, we have sent down to you the dress that covers your shame and provides adornment. That, as for the dress of taqwa, that is the best. That is one of the signs of Allah, so that they may learn a lesson. So these ayat, they emphasize that the first and foremost obligation of a person is to cover the shameful parts of the body. And this is the first purpose for which Allah has created the dress, and the second purpose being adornment. And the pagan Arabs, they used to be obscene in various aspects of their life. And worst of all, most of their tribes used to undress themselves while making tawaf around the Kaaba. In any case, it is pointed out by these verses that all those activities that lead men or women to nudity are initiated by shaitan, and that one should be aware of these temptations. At the same time, the ayah reminds us that garments are also an adornment only for the body, whereas spiritual beauty depends on beauty, and so the word dress is used for taqwa in its figurative sense. يا بني آدم لا يفتننكم الشيطان كما أخرج أبويكم من الجنة ينزع عنهما لباسهما ليريهما سوآتهما إنه يراكم هو وقبيله من حيث لا ترونهم إنا جعلنا الشياطين أولياء للذين لا يؤمنون. O children of Adam, do not let shaitan put you in trouble the way he had your parents expelled from paradise, having their dress removed from them, so that he could show them their shame. Indeed, he sees you, he and his company, from where you do not see them. Surely we have made the devils friends to those who do not believe. وإذا فعلوا فاحشة قالوا وجدنا عليه آباءنا والله أمرنا بها قل إن الله لا يأمر بالفحشاء تقولون على الله ما لا تعلمون. When they do a shameful act, they say, we have found our fathers doing it, and Allah has ordered us to do so. Say, Allah never orders anything shameful. Do you say about Allah what you do not know? قل أمر ربي بالقسط وأقيموا وجوهكم عند كل مسجد وادعوه مخلصين له الدين كما بدأكم تعودون. Say, my Rabb has ordered me to do justice. Set your faces aright on such occasion or of prostration, and pray to him with pure faith in him, just as he has originated you, so you will be raised again. So the Arabic word here is qist, which is normally translated as justice, but it also implies moderation in every matter, far from both extremes of excessiveness and deficiency, without prejudice to the generality of the term. In the present context, it includes moderation in the matter of one's dress. So one should neither neglect the requirement of covering the body and using dress as an adornment, nor should one take the beauty of dress as an objective in life and neglect the divine injunctions relating to it or to other obligations, meaning the clothes that you wear, be moderate. Don't make it so you're not wearing nothing, and don't make it so you're wearing just about everything that you possibly can. فريقا هدى وفريقا حق عليهم الضلالة إنهم اتخذوا الشياطين أولياء من دون الله ويحسبون أنهم مهتدون. He has led a group to guidance and has established for another group in misguidance. Indeed, they have taken the devils for their friends instead of Allah, and they think that they are on the right path. يا بني آدم خذوا زينتكم عند كل مسجد وكلوا واشربوا ولا تسرفوا إنه لا يحب المسرفين. O children of Adam, take on your adornment at every mosque. Eat and drink and do not be extravagant. Surely he does not like the extravagant. So adornment in this ayah refers to garments. According to the belief of the pagans, it was the excessive prerogative of some specific tribes called Hums to make the tawaf of Kaaba with their garments on. All other tribes had to borrow garments from them for this purpose. And if they found none to lend his or her garments, they had to undress themselves and make tawaf fully naked. And so the absurd plea for this practice was that they could not present themselves before Allah with garments polluted with sins. So the present ayah condemns this foolish custom and orders all people to wear their clothes when attending any masjid, including the sacred mosque in Mecca. قل من حرم زينة الله التي أخرج لعباده والطيبات من الرزق قل هي للذين آمنوا في الحياة الدنيا خالصة يوم القيامة كذلك نفصل الآيات لقوم يعلمون. Say, who has prohibited the adornment Allah has brought forth for his servants and the wholesome things of sustenance. Say, they are the believers during this worldly life, though shared by others, while they are purely for them on the day of resurrection. This is how we elaborate the verses for people who understand. So the pagans of Arabia had not only prohibited wearing their dress while making tawaf, but they had also prohibited different permissible foods, as mentioned before. So the present ayah says that making something lawful or unlawful is the prerogative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. So no one can hold a lawful thing as unlawful, and this is the import of the first sentence of this ayah. And the second sentence in the ayah refutes an argument advanced by some of the pagans. So they at times argue that all the lawful and wholesome things are bounties of Allah, as mentioned in the Quran. On the other hand, the pagans are blessed with these divine bounties in abundance, which they are enjoying. So, according to the reasoning, this shows Allah is not displeased with the pagans. Otherwise, He would have withheld such bounties from them. So the answer given in the verse is that enjoyment in this world is not a proof of Allah's pleasure and approval unless it continues in the hereafter as well. So while the enjoyment of the disbelievers is restricted to this world only, the believers are enjoying Allah's bounty here in this world and will continue to enjoy His bounty in the hereafter as well. So in this world, the disbelievers share these bounties with them, but in the hereafter, it will be the believers only who will enjoy the bounties of Jannah by themselves. قل إنما حرم ربي الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن والإثم والبغي بغير الحق وأن تشركوا بالله ما لم ينزل به سلطانا وأن تقولوا على الله ما لا تعلمون. Say, my Rabb has prohibited only the shameful acts, whether open or secret, and every sinful act and unjust aggression, and that you associate with Allah anything for which He has not sent any authority, and that you may attribute to Allah anything about which you do not have sure knowledge. وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ أَجَلٌ فَإِذَا جَاءَ أَجَلُهُمْ لَا يَسْتَأْخِرُونَ سَاعَةً وَلَا يَسْتَقْدِمُونَ. For every people there is an appointed time. So when their appointed time will come, they cannot be late for a moment, nor will they get ahead. يَا بَنِي آدَمَ إِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُمْ رُسُلٌ مِّنكُمْ يَقُصُّونَ عَلَيْكُمْ آيَاتِي فَمَنِ اتَّقَىٰ وَأَصْلَحَ فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. O children of Adam, if messengers from among you come to you conveying my verses to you, then those who fear Allah and correct themselves will have no fear, nor shall they grieve. وَالَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا وَاسْتَكْبَرُوا عَنْهَا أُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. Those who reject our verses and stand arrogant against them, they are the inmates of the fire. There they shall live forever. فَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنِ افْتَرَىٰ عَلَى اللَّهِ كَذِبًا أَوْ كَذَّبَ بِآيَاتِهِ أُولَٰئِكَ يَنَالُهُمْ نَصِيبُهُم مِّنَ الْكِتَابِ حَتَّىٰ إِذَا جَاءَتْهُمْ رُسُلُنَا يتوفونهم قالوا أين ما كنتم تدعون من دون الله قالوا ضلوا عنا وشهدوا على أنفسهم أنهم كانوا كافرين. So who is more unjust than the one who coins a lie against Allah or rejects His signs? They shall receive their share from that sustenance which is written for them in their destiny, until when our envoys, angels shall come to them to their souls to take their souls away. They will say, Where are those so-called gods whom you used to invoke besides Allah? And the disbelievers will say, they all have vanished from us, and they shall testify against themselves that they were disbelievers. قال ادخلوا في قد خلت من قبلكم من الجن والإنس في النار كلما دخلت أمة لعنت أختها حتى إذا داركوا فيها جميعا قالت أخراهم لأولاهم ربنا هؤلاء أضلونا فآتهم عذابا ضعفا من النار قال لكل ضعف ولكن لا تعلمون. Allah will say, enter the fire along with the peoples who passed before you from the jinn and the human beings. Whenever a group will enter it, they will curse their fellows until when all of them will have joined each other in it. The latter ones will say about the former ones, Our Rabb, they have misguided us. Give them a double punishment of the fire. And he will say, for each there is a double, but you do not know. So the phrase former ones refers to the predecessors who left a legacy of disbelief and evil deeds for their following generations. And latter one stands for the successors who will try to shift the blame to the former ones. And in regards to the double, the punishment of each group is said to be double, either because of the severity of the punishment of each in its own force, or because each successor has been a predecessor for the next generation. وقالت أولاهم لأخراهم فما كان لكم علينا من فضل فذوقوا العذاب بما كنتم تكسبون. The former ones will say to the latter ones, so you have no privilege against us. Now taste the punishment for what you have been earning. And after Allah will have decided that the plea of the latter ones will not help them in lightening in their punishment, and the former ones will reply to them that they cannot enjoy any privilege in the matter of punishment. إن الذين كذبوا بآياتنا واستكبروا عنها لا تفتح لهم أبواب السماء ولا يدخلون الجنة حتى يلج الجمل في سم الخياط وكذلك نجزي المجرمين. Surely those who have rejected our signs and stood arrogant against them, the gates of the heavens shall not be opened for them, and they shall not enter paradise unless a camel passes through the eye of a needle. This is how we recompense the sinners. So obviously a camel can never pass through the eye of a needle. And so this expression indicates the impossibility of their entrance into Jannah. لهم من جهنم مهاد ومن فوقهم غواش وكذلك نجزي الظالمين. For them there is a bed from Jahannam, and over them there are coverings. This is how we recompense the transgressors. والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لا نكلف نفسا إلا وسعها أولئك أصحاب الجنة هم فيها خالدون. Those who believe and do good deeds, we do not obligate anyone beyond his capacity, that they are the people of paradise. They shall remain there forever. ونزعنا ما في صدورهم من غل تجري من تحتهم الأنهار وقالوا الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق ونودوا أن تلكم الجنة أو أورثتموها بما كنتم تعملون. We will remove whatever amount of malice they had in their hearts. Rivers will flow beneath them, and they will say, all praise is to Allah who has guided us to this. We would not have been able to find the way had Allah not guided us. Surely the messengers of our Rabb came with the truth. Then they will receive a call. Here is the paradise which you have been made to inherit because of the deeds you have been doing. ونادى أصحاب الجنة أصحاب النار أن قد وجدنا ما وعدنا ربنا حقا فهل وجدتم ما وعد ربكم حقا قالوا نعم فأذن مؤذن بينهم اللعنة الله على الظالمين. The inmates of paradise will call out to the inmates of the fire, we have found true what our Rabb had promised to us. Have you too found true what your Rabb has promised you? And they will say yes. Then an announcer between them will call out, the curse of Allah is on the wrongdoers. الذين يصدون عن سبيل الله ويبغونها عوجا وهم بالآخرة كافرون, who used to turn themselves away from the way of Allah, seeking to make it crooked, while they were the deniers of the hereafter. وبينهما حجاب وعلى الأعراف رجال يعرفون كلا بسيماهم ونادوا أصحاب الجنة أن سلام عليكم لن يدخلوها وهم يطمعون. Between the two groups there will be a barrier, and on A'raf, the heights, there shall be people who will recognize each group through their signs, and they will call out to the people of paradise, peace on you. They will not have entered it, yet they will have hope too. So as mentioned before, Araf is the name of a high place between Jannah and Jahannam. And the people whose good deeds and bad deeds are found equal will be detained there for a while, but ultimately they will be allowed to enter into Jannah. So this ayah depicts the scene of a time when they will not have entered paradise, and will be watching those who will have entered paradise or hell, hoping to join the former and praying not to be joined with the latter. وإذا صرفت أبصارهم تلقاء أصحاب النار قالوا ربنا لا تجعلنا مع القوم الظالمين. When their eyes will be turned to the people of the fire, they will say, Our Rabb, do not join us with the unjust people. ونادى أصحاب الأعراف رجالا يعرفونهم بسيماهم قالوا ما أغنى عنكم جمعكم وما كنتم تستكبرون. The people of A'raf will call out to the people of fire, whom they will recognize through their signs. Your masses were not of any help to you, nor was the arrogance you used to show. أهؤلاء الذين أقسمتم لا ينالهم الله برحمة ادخلوا الجنة لا خوف عليكم ولا أنتم تحزنون. Is it these people of paradise about whom you had swore that Allah would not allow His mercy to reach them? It will be said to such people, enter paradise. There will be no fear for you, nor shall you grieve. So this address could be to the people of Araf, and as such was interpreted by Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu anh. And it could be to the people who have already entered paradise. In the latter case, it will be a part of the address of the people of Araf to the people of hell. And the sense would be, you claimed about these believers that they would not receive mercy from Allah, but Allah has said to them, enter paradise. ونادى أصحاب النار أصحاب الجنة أن أفيضوا علينا أن أفيضوا علينا من الماء أو مما رزقكم الله قالوا إن الله حرمهما على الكافرين. The people of the fire will call out to the people of paradise, pour on us some water or some of what Allah has provided you. They will say, Allah has prohibited these for the disbelievers. الذين اتخذوا دينهم لهوا ولعبا وغرتهم الحياة الدنيا فاليوم ننساهم كما نسوا لقاء يومهم هذا وما كانوا بآياتنا يجحدون. Who had taken their faith as play and a game, the worldly life had deceived them, so we shall forget them today as they had forgotten to face this day of theirs, and as they used to deny our signs. ولقد جئناهم بكتاب فصلناه على علم هدى ورحمة لقوم يؤمنون. Surely we have brought them a book that we have elaborated with knowledge as guidance and mercy for people who believe. هل ينظرون إلا أن تأويله يوم يأتي تأويله يقول الذين نسوه من قبل قد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق فهل لنا من شفعاء فيشفعوا لنا أو نرد فنعمل غير الذي كنا نعمل قد خسروا أنفسهم وضل عنهم ما كانوا يفترون. They are awaiting for nothing but its final result. The day when its final result will come, those who had ignored it earlier will say, surely the messengers of our Rabb had come with the truth. So are there any intercessors for us who could intercede in our favor? Or could we be sent back so that we might do contrary to what we used to do? Indeed, they have put themselves to their loss and vanished from them all that they used to fabricate. إن ربكم الله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام ثم استوى على العرش يغشي الليل النهار يطلبه حثيثا والشمس والقمر والنجوم مسخرات بأمره ألا له الخلق والأمر تبارك الله رب العالمين. Surely your Rabb is Allah and created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. Then he positioned himself on the throne. He covers the night. He covers the day with the night that pursues it swiftly. He created the sun and the moon and the stars, subjugated to his command. Lo, to him alone belong the creation and the command. Glorious is Allah, the Rabb of all the worlds. And here in the case of blessings, it refers to the rain. ادعوا ربكم تضرعا وخفيا إنه لا يحب المعتدين. Supplicate to your Rabb humbly and secretly. Surely he does not like those who cross the limit. ولا تفسدوا في الأرض بعد إصلاحها وادعوه خوفا وطمعا إن رحمة الله قريب من المحسنين. Do not make mischief on the earth after it has been set in order. Supplicate him in fear and hope. Surely the mercy of Allah is close to those who are good in their deeds. وهو الذي يرسل الرياح بشرا بين يدي رحمته حتى إذا قلت سحابا ثقالا سقناه لبلد ميت فأنزلنا به الماء فأخرجنا به من كل الثمرات كذلك نخرج الموتى لعلكم تذكرون. He is the one who sends the winds carrying good news before his blessings until when they lift up the heavy clouds we drive them to a dead land. Then there we pour down water. Then we bring forth with it all sorts of fruit. And in a similar way, we will bring forth all the dead. All this is being explained to you so that you may learn a lesson. والبلد الطيب يخرج نباته بإذن ربي والذي خبث لا يخرج إلا نكدا كذلك نصرف الآيات لقوم يشكرون. As for a good land, its vegetation comes out with the permission of its Rabb, but that which is bad does not grow except what is bad. And so we alternate the verses in various ways for people who pay gratitude. So apart from confirming the reality of life after death, the ayah conveys something else as well. The rain causes vegetation to grow in receptive soil, but it cannot produce any useful crop in a barren land. So similarly, the call of the prophets benefits only those who are receptive to their advice and not those who lend a deaf ear to it. لقد أرسلنا نوحا إلى قومه فقال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره إني أخاف عليكم عذاب يوم عظيم. Surely we sent Nuh to his people, so he said, "O my people, worship Allah. You have no God other than him. I fear for you the punishment of a great day." So the most comprehensive accounts of Nuh alayhi salam we will cover in Surah Hud, inshallah, Surah Nuh as well. And some references have been made before, and some more references will be made later on as well. قال الملأ من قومه إنا لنراك في ضلال مبين. The chiefs of his people said, "Indeed, we see you in an obvious error." قال يا قوم ليس بي ضلالة ولكني رسول من رب العالمين. He said, "O my people, there is no error in me, but I am a messenger from the Rabb of all the worlds. أبلغكم رسالات ربي وأنصح لكم وأعلم من الله ما لا تعلمون." I convey you to the messages of my Rabb and wish your betterment, and I know from Allah that which you do not know. أَوَعَجِبْتُمْ أَنْ جَاءَكُمْ ذِكْرٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ عَلَى رَجُلٍ مِّنكُمْ لِيُنذِرَكُمْ وَلِيَتَّقُوا وَلَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. Do you wonder that an advice from your Rabb has come to you through a man from among you, so that he may warn you and that you may fear Allah and that you may be blessed with mercy? فَكَذَّبُوهُ فَأَنْجَيْنَاهُ وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ فِي الْفُلْكِ وَأَغْرَقْنَا الَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا قَوْمًا عَمِينَ. Then they accused him of falsehood. So we saved him and those with him in the ark and drowned those who rejected our signs. Certainly they were a blind people. وَإِلَىٰ عَادٍ أَخَاهُمْ هُودًا قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مَا لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَٰهٍ غَيْرُهُ أَفَلَا تَتَّقُونَ. To Ad we sent their brother Hud. He said, "O my people, worship Allah. You have none You have no God other than Him, so will you not fear Allah? In Ad, they were an ancient Arab tribe that used to live in Yemen, and the Prophet Hud alayhi salam was sent to them. And when they refused to believe in him, they were destroyed by a violent wind. And again, we will go over this in more detail in Surah Hud. قال الملأ الذين كفروا من قومه إنا لنراك في سفاهة وإنا لنظنك من الكاذبين. So the chiefs of his people who disbelieved, indeed we see you in folly, and we believe you are one of the liars. قال يا قوم ليس بي سفاهة ولكني رسول من رب العالمين. He said, O my people, there is no folly in me, but I am a messenger from the Rabb of all the worlds. أبلغكم رسالات ربي وأنا لكم ناصح أمين. I convey to you the messages of my Rabb, and I am an honest well-wisher for you. أوعجبتم أن جاءكم ذكر من ربكم على رجل منكم لينذركم واذكروا إذ جعلكم خلفاء من بعد قوم نوح وزادكم في الخلق بسطة فاذكروا آلاء الله لعلكم تفلحون. Do you wonder that an advice from your Rabb has come to you through a man from among you, so that he may warn you, and remember when he made you successors after the people of Nuh and gave you increased strength in physique, so be mindful of the bounties of Allah so that you may be successful. So the reference here is towards the extraordinary stature and physical strength that was given to this nation. And the Quran mentions later on that the likes of these people have never been created in the whole world. قالوا أجئتنا لنعبد الله وحده ونذر ما كان يعبد آباؤنا فأتنا بما تعدنا إن كنت من الصادقين. They said, have you come to us that we should worship Allah alone and give up what our forefathers used to worship? Now bring upon us that scourge with which you threaten us if you are one of the truthful. قال قد وقع عليكم من ربكم رجس وغضب أتجادلونني في أسماء سميتموها أنتم وآباؤكم ما نزل الله بها من سلطان فانتظروا إني معكم من المنتظرين. He said the punishment and the anger from your Rabb have fallen upon you. Do you quarrel with me about mere names that you and your fathers have concocted, and for which Allah has sent down no authority? So wait, I am one of those waiting with you. فأنجيناه والذين معه برحمة منا وقطعنا دابر الذين كذبوا بآياتنا وما كانوا مؤمنين. So we have sent him and those with him out of mercy from us, and we eradicated those who rejected our signs. They were not believers. وإلى ثمود أخاهم صالحا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره قد جاءتكم بينة من ربكم هذه ناقة الله لكم آية فذروها تأكل في أرض الله ولا تمسوها بسوء فيأخذكم عذاب أليم. To Thamud we send their brother Salih. He said, O my people, worship Allah. You have no God other than Him. There has come to you a clear sign from your Rabb. This is a she-camel of Allah, a sign for you. So leave her to eat on the earth of Allah and do not touch her with mischief, lest a painful punishment should seize you. And Thamud was another Arab tribe, and they lived in Al-Hijr, an ancient city north of Medina. Today is called Madain Saleh, where the ruins of their habitations are still visible. So this tribe had a flourishing civilization and was known for its skill at rock carving and building houses and monuments. Apart from polytheism, they developed many social evils, and Saleh alayhi salam was sent to them. After a long time of persistent refusal to accept the truth, they asked him to bring out a pregnant she-camel from the mountain, and they promised to believe in him if he could do so. So Saleh alayhi salam, he prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the she-camel appeared from the mountain as demanded. Witnessing the miraculous birth of the she-camel, some people embraced the faith and others were inclined to, but their chiefs or their masters prevented them. So Salih alayhi salam, apprehending a divine scourge to befall them, asked them to protect the she-camel and abide by the conditions under which she was born, including that they would let her graze freely, and that she would drink water of the well exclusively on one day, and others would drink the other day. They ended up violating these conditions, and they got her killed. So for this, they were seized by the divine scourge in the form of a loud cry and an earthquake which destroyed all of them. Again, a detailed account of the story will be found in Surah Hud and Surah Shu'ara later on. واذكروا إذ جعلكم خلفاء من بعد عاد وبوأكم في الأرض تتخذون من سهولها قصورا وتنحتون الجبال بيوتا فاذكروا آلاء الله ولا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين. Remember when he made you successors after Ad and lodged you on earth, whereby you made castles in its plains and hew out the mountains to build houses. So be mindful of the bounties of Allah and do not go about the earth spreading disorder. قال الملأ الذين استكبروا من قومه للذين استضعفوا لمن آمن منهم أن تعلمون أن صالحا مرسل من ربي قالوا إنا بما أرسل به مؤمنون. The haughty chiefs of his people said to those of the oppressed who had believed in the messenger, do you know for sure that Salih is a messenger from his Rabb? They said, of course, we believe in what he has been sent with. قال الذين استكبروا إنا بالذي آمنتم به كافرون. The haughty people said, as for us, we disbelieve in what you believe. فعقروا الناقة وعتوا عن أمر ربهم وقالوا يا صالح ائتنا بما تعدنا إن كنت من المرسلين. Then they slaughtered the she-camel and defied the command for their Rabb and said, O Salih, bring to us what you threaten us with, if you are one of the messengers. فأخذتهم الرجفة فأصبحوا في دارهم جاثمين. So the earthquake seized them and they were found dead in their homes, fallen on their faces. فتولى عنهم وقال يا قوم لقد أبلغتكم رسالة ربي ونصحت لكم ولكن لا تحبون الناصحين. So he turned away from them and said, O my people, indeed I have delivered to you the message of my Rabb and wished you betterment, but you do not like the well-wishers. وَلُوطًا إِذْ قَالَ لِقَوْمِهِ أَتَأْتُونَ الْفَاحِشَةَ مَا سَبَقَكُمْ بِهَا مِنْ أَحَدٍ مِنَ الْعَالَمِينَ. And we sent Lut when he said to his people, do you commit the shameful act in which no one in the world has ever preceded you? So Lut was a nephew of Ibrahim ﷺ who migrated from Iraq with him. And following the directions of Ibrahim ﷺ, Lut ﷺ settled in Syria and Palestine. He was later invested with prophethood and sent to the people of Sodom and in joining towns who, apart from their polytheism, were notorious for sodomy or homosexuality. And when they did not heed their sincere advices of Lut alayhi salam, they were seized by the divine scourge and all their towns were overturned. No traces of these towns are found today, and most probably they were submerged in the Dead Sea of Jordan, which is also named as the Sea of Lut. And the most detailed account of Lut will be found in Surah Hud as well. And inshallah, we will go in detail the graphics of the punishment as well, inshallah. إنكم لتأتون الرجال شهوة من دون النساء بل أنتم قوم مسرفون. You come to men lustfully instead of women. No, you are a people who cross the limits. وما كان جواب قومه إلا أن قالوا أخرجوهم من قريتكم إنهم أناس يتطهرون. The answer of his people was no other than to say, expel them from your town. They are a people who pretend too much purity. فأنجيناه وأهله إلا امرأته كانت من الغابرين. So he saved him and his family except his wife. She was one of those who remained behind. So this will be mentioned again in Surah Hud and Surah Tahrim. The wife of Lut alayhi salam did not accept the true faith. Instead, she preferred to help the disbelievers. And so when before the divine scourge came, Lut alayhi salam was directed to leave the city, and she remained behind and was destroyed along with the rest of the disbelievers. وَأَمْطَرْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ مَطَرًا فَانظُرْ كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُجْرِمِينَ. And we rained down upon them a rain. So look, how is the fate of the sinners? وإلى مدين أخاهم شعيبا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره قد جاءتكم بينة من ربكم فأوفوا الكيل والميزان ولا تبخسوا الناس أشياءهم ولا تفسدوا في الأرض بعد إصلاحها ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين. And to Madian we sent their brother Shu'aib. He said, O my people, worship Allah. You have no God other than Him. There has come to you a clear sign from your Rabb. Give the measure and weight in full, and do not make people short of their things, and do not make mischief on the earth after it has been set in order. That is good for you if you are believers. ولا تقعدوا بكل صراط توعدون وتصدون عن سبيل الله من آمن به وتبغونها عوجا واذكروا إذ كنتم قليلا فكثركم وانظروا كيف كان عاقبة المفسدين. Do not sit in every path threatening and preventing from the way of Allah the people who believed in Him and seeking a twist in it. Remember the time when you were few, then He increased you in number. Consider the fate of those who used to make mischief. وإن كان طائفة منكم آمنوا بالذي أرسلت به وطائفة لم يؤمنوا فاصبروا حتى يحكم الله بيننا وهو خير الحاكمين. If a group from among you has believed in what I have been sent with, and another group has not believed, then keep patience until Allah decides between us. He is the best of all judges. Sadaqallahul Azim. Alhamdulillah, we have just finished the 8th juz. Jazakallah khair for participating in today's class. And before everyone starts to leave, we'd just like to remind everyone that before Ramadan begins, we will be continuing our time as normal. And then before or when Ramadan does begin, in a few days, our timing will be sent back either half an hour or an hour. Inshallah, we will keep you posted. And if you do regard this as a beneficial class or a beneficial series, just remember that this is all free for everyone, and you are highly encouraged to share it with all your friends, families, or anyone that will benefit from this type of class as well. In any case, it's not much of a class, but just more of a door of our Quran in both Quranic recitation and English translation as well. And inshallah, with this, we'll be able to finish our Dora of the Quran 2 times, one being the Arabic khatam and the second being an English khatam. Once again, Jazakallah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward and accept our efforts for coming here today. I will see you all tomorrow, inshallah, when we will start from Qal Mara'u, juz number 9. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.